And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to one of my favorite shows. It's a show about shows. This is episode 67. We recorded on October the 25th. And this is a couple of Scream Queens. Your favorite Scream Queens, right here for you. JPO, Jordan Personas, and as always,
oh, it's old Dutch. He's screaming. That's best I can do right now.
don't do that too much because they will screw up the levels. So.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about the levels. I just like to play around though. That's just who I is.
So we're gearing up for a big Halloween episode next week where we will discuss the top 10 horror films of the last decade. We will be joined again from a future or a past guest. Dexter Beckett will join us for that one here. It's just me and good old Dutchy though for this one here. I still got some more horror reviews, and it was your idea to our top 10 of the week here, and it's good old Jamie Lee Curtis. So many films to choose from.
Absolutely, and she because she was in the movie Halloween, I thought to myself, we need something to go with this motif, because at the end we're recapping the past decade. At the end of this month, let us have her, the Scream Queen original, in this top 10 finally, Jamie Lee Curtis.
And then I said, hold on, let me make sure I can even physically do that. And I checked and I said, yep, I've seen 11, so I can do a top 10.
There you go. See, it's easy to slide it on in there if you do the work. So
we also got some fun reviews here for you. Let's kick it off with the movie reviews of the week. First up, Yes, God, Yes. A devoutly religious teen grapples with her own sexual awakening, don't we all, and attends a Catholic school retreat in the hopes of suppressing her newfound urges. This stars Natalie Dyer, Timothy Simmons, Wolfgang Novogratz, Francesca Rail, and Susan Blackwell. Dutch, this one you got. Well, actually, we're basically going to go back and forth. I don't think I've seen any of yours. You've seen none of mine. Tell me about Yes, God, Yes.
Well, Natalia Dyer, if you haven't known her, she is the sister on Stranger Things, but that's where she got her lift off. But this one she plays. This is the early, I think, late '90s, early 2000, where AOL is still the king of dial-up internet. And she basically is on the IM in the very beginning of the film, in which she basically is asked, what is she like, and whatever, and the guy wants to, starts talking innuendo. Rumors are, though, in the very beginning of the film, that she's a slut. Wow, there you go. So now she's kind of curious of what everyone's been talking about, how everyone's been talking about her. And so it goes from there. I wish I had the quotes that the movie starts with, but it was just unbelievable. They give you a Bible verse, and then they give you the definition of tossing salads. And so that is how this movie begins. So you're in for a little trip. And I'll be honest, it is a fun little film. It kept my attention throughout. It's a short film, though. It's an hour and 17 minutes, which is something that you don't ever see, but it plays just right. It's one of those films that feels like it's over an hour and 30, but it's 117 all on the button. And it's basically about a girl who is, like you said, self-discovering herself, and finding along the lines, a lot of people along the way, a lot of people are just making it up as they go along. People are stating that, you can't do this, you can't do that, but she's finding even the priest is a hypocrite. The people who are telling her she shouldn't be doing this, her fellow students, are doing these things. And so you're finding a lot of these things. She talks to a lesbian biker as well along the way, and she gives her some sordid advice. And at the end of the day, it's a touching, just growth film for this young lady. And I enjoyed it a lot. You could get it on Netflix. I had it on VOD. I bought it and I just hadn't watched it for a while. It was 99 cents a long time ago. And it was like 30 days was coming up. And so I said, let me watch it. Then the next day after I watched it, boom, there it is on Netflix. So now you can watch it for if you have a Netflix account. But all in all, it was very fun to watch. It's 3.5 snowflakes which you'll see a theme of that running around this week. I don't know, but it's probably a start of a theme. So 3.5 for Yes, God, Yes.
Yeah, looks good, man. I might be checking that out soon here myself. I might have a review up here for that in a week or two. Hey, you're supposed to let me know about those 99-cent rentals. So once
I
again,
apo- I apologize. I could usually tell me, but I was taking a flyer before I could recommend it, and the next thing you know, it's off the market. So
if
why
it's
would I?
99 cents, just tell me. I don't need a recommendation or not.
I still like to know before I spend money. That's just me. The next movie we're going to talk about, we go from self-discovery to just Love and Monsters. Yes, Love and Monsters is the next film Jordan went to watch without me. But 7 years after the monster apocalypse, Joel Dawson, along with the rest of humanity, has been living underground ever since giant creatures took control of the land. As Joel realizes there's nothing left for him underground, he decides, against all logic, to venture out to Amy, his high school girlfriend, 80 miles away. Despite all the dangerous monsters that stand in his way, this has Dylan O'Brien, Michael Roker, Ariana Greenblatt, and Jessica Henwick. Tell me this is a monster apocalypse romantic comedy. It just seems so great. Tell me what this is. Tell me, give me goodness.
I'm actually happy to say I'm here to give you some good news. I'm going to give this a very positive review here. This is fun from beginning to end. Dylan O'Brien, he's a really fun actor. I feel he has a lot of chemistry here, and you really root for this guy from the beginning. He is not the adventurous type. You see, some of the struggles he goes through in the beginning. He freezes up when he meets the first monster that you see him meet anyway, and about they all give him not a very good chance of making it because he finally decides, hey, I'm finally gonna go get that girl that I haven't seen in X amount of years, and it's 80 miles, and it's a very not even a lot of people are in it. Like me, that's not a huge cast as you just saw. Those are the kind of the main people here. He runs across Michael Rooker, who's very good, very Rookerish, but I like that.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Absolutely. And this you find out how funnily he's really good in this movie. Actually, him and a little girl he runs across, who you later on find out what their relationship is. And he also has a dog, so part of it is just him and a dog making a journey. The character creatures are interesting too here because it's that post-apocalyptic. They're huge and they're mixed with different things and whatnot. And you really root for the kid here. Yeah, not really much to say. I mean, a little bit of a prolonged ending when it comes to like, oh, we have to shoe in a little more action. I felt like it lost me a little tiny bit, but I really enjoyed the quieter moments. O'Brien's really good. I had fun, man. Like I said, this is just, I think it's definitely worth checking out. I'm gonna give it 4 stars.
Awesome! I can't wait to watch this. The only and the underlying romance part of it is that it's still funny and fun to be a part of as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mostly see from his perspective because you get a little bit of them right before the apocalypse. You get a scene of them, and that's when it actually hits. Is they're together and they got to go their separate ways because they go with their
Yeah.
families. So you mostly see just from him. But there's some interesting stuff they do with that. Actually, I don't want to spoil it. So go in just ready to
Fair.
kind of root, have some fun, and there's always you always like a good dog too, right?
Yeah, it sounds like as soon as I saw the preview, I thought, what a romp this is going to be. So I'm hoping, and I'm grateful for you to give me a decent review of 4 snowflakes. So thank you. I can't wait to join to watch it.
Well, let me know because here's a movie I'm quite interested in just because this cast. I mean, I don't even know if I've seen this trailer. It's On the Rocks. A young New York mother faced with sudden doubts about her marriage teams up with her larger than life Playboy father to tail her husband. You got Bill Murray, Rashida Jones, and Marlon Wayans. Tell me about On the Rocks while I take a sip of my drink.
Absolutely. You take a sip, take it real good, because they love to drink in this film as well. There's always a Bombay martini and a few other things going down their gullets. But I have to tell you, it's written and directed by Sofia Coppola. As Lost in Transition, which was a decent film. And so translation, I apologize. It was a transition, I guess, in my mind. But no, Bill.
Is the correct title. I got you.
Yeah. Lost in translation. I apologize to all the big fans of that film. But Bill Murray puts in a great performance again. Little underwhelming, but but as delivered just right. He's not. He's supposed to be a playboy, charismatic guy who basically flirts with anything that wears a skirt, basically throughout this, and also trying to give sage advice to his daughter. Played by Rashida Jones, who's married, of course, to Marlon Wayans. She thinks that he's been cheating on her, and he basically is feeding that fire, saying, "Yes, all men are dogs. We're dogs. We can't stay with one woman. We have to go out and procreate and plow fields and stuff." And to me, it's a good fun time. It's kind of the mundane, really. It's everyday life. You get a visual of what it's like for her. She's a writer. She's trying to get her career back on track, but also she has these other nagging feelings about how her marriage may not be as strong as it used to be. And so it's just it does open up a little bit of emotion, and you could feel the stickiness, we'll say, of humanity within every relationship. It's not always going to be easy going, as it were. But yeah, like I said, though, the performances are great. Basically, it's mostly Bill Murray and Jones running through this landscape of New York, and some Mexican trip as well. But it's a good film. It's well worth the watch. It's on Apple Plus right now. It was supposed to be in the theaters, but Paramount, I believe, sold it to get it to where it's at.
Theaters.
Oh, it is in some select theaters. I apologize, but I gave it three and a half. It's still good. And it's well worth your time if you want to watch it. It didn't break any new grounds. It's just if you want to see some decent performances, you're going to see it here.
Awesome. That's something I will get around to sooner or later if I ever do that Apple Plus subscription or trial. Well, speaking of three and a half, I ain't giving that to this next movie. Set it up, Dutch.
The next movie is War with the Grandpa. Sixth grade, of course, you probably wouldn't. Sixth grader Peter is pretty much your average kid, but when his recently widowed grandfather Ed moves in with Peter's family, the boy is forced to give up his most prized possession of all, his bedroom. Unwilling to let such an injustice stand, Peter devises a series of increasingly elaborate pranks to drive out this interloper, but Grandpa Ed won't go without a fight. This stars Oakes Fegley, Robert De Niro, Uma Thurman, Christopher Walken, Jane Seymour, who we'll talk about later, Rob Riggy, and Cheech Marin. I seen this was out in the theaters, so you must have braved the theaters to watch it. Was it worth the money?
Oh, Dutch, have some more fun with this review. Let's do it like walking. My niece hasn't seen a movie in the theater since January, February. Okay, I don't want to do that this whole time. Anyway,
it would be tough to keep up.
This was the first thing that's popped up since theaters were shut down. That's kid friendly, PG here. A little risque, a little bit of obviously they don't show it, but several references to male nudity, which was a bit odd, but all right, whatever chuckles your boat. And the seven people that were in the theater chuckled, I think, a little bit throughout, and my niece gives it more of a positive review than I will. It's just not meant for us, man. I put this in the same vein as that John Cena firefighter movie, where it's just I was ready for it to end. I didn't like the shoehorn relationship actually with De Niro and Seymour. It felt underdeveloped here. Walken and Marin are fun friends. Even Walken's on a hoverboard, and you're just watching this going, De Niro used to do really good stuff back in the day. Now look at he's showing his junk to Rob Riggle, and also lots of falls, a lot of Pratt falls where you're like, that would definitely break his hip. 7 times. I'm like, that would just murder this guy at that age. But I don't, like I said, it's cute enough to where it's harmless. A good scene, Uma Thurman. Think about this, man. Robert De Niro, Uma Thurman, Christopher Walken. Like, it just sounds like a good.
So it sounds like it's a top shelf of a film, but then you just bring that part into it. You're like, oh.
So I'm gonna give it 2 stars. It is what it is. It's cute. I think it's gonna be ultimately forgetful, but maybe not brave a theater if you don't if you're trepidatious. But if it's on Disney Plus in a few months or whatever, yeah, throw it on in an afternoon.
Yeah, I'll wait for it to come around for free. Because it was one of those movies. I watched the preview and I was like, I just can't. I couldn't even stomach the kid in the preview. I was like, if that was a kid in real life, for Christ's sake, he would have been dead by now. You know what I'm saying? Because his ass would have been torn up. You know, about what I saw in the preview. So,
Vaguely, he's fine. Everyone's
well,
fine. The movie's fine. Speaking of things that might be fine, you tell me. It's Friendsgiving. Friendsgiving. Molly and Abby, along with their crew of close friends and acquaintances, host a dysfunctional, comical, and chaotic Thanksgiving dinner. This is another one. I've never even seen this trailer, but you got a great cast here. Kat Dennings, future wife. Madeline Ackerman, future wife. Jane Seymour. Oh, I'm just kidding. Jane Seymour, Aisha Tyler, Jeff Donnelly, Dion Cole. I love me some Dion Cole, and Ryan Hansen. Talk to me about Friendsgiving. I know you were so ready to buy this. Nope, did I lose you? No, you're there. You're muted, Dutch.
I apologize for that. I was coughing and I kind of forgot to take it off, and you know how that works. Anyway, I did buy this movie of all things. The reason why I bought it was cheaper to buy it than pay the $7 to rent it. So I was like, well, I'll pay the $2 extra to buy it, you know. So I bought it that way. This film was kind of fun. Abby is Kate Denning, and Molly is Malin Ackerman. And I got to say, Kat Denning's coming off a breakup with her girlfriend, and she's just It's an abusive relationship, we find, but she's still broken up about it because she's lost she feels like she's lost everything. Whereas Molly also is going through a divorce, but she has her stopgap by the name of Jeff, who's played by Jack Donnelly. James Seymour is also is in this film as yours as well, and she plays the ever Swedish mother of all things. Or Swiss mother. I don't even know which one it was, but she has dyed blonde. She's wearing a blonde wig, and she has the worst accent that I've ever come across in acting. Ever since I think it was what was that one movie that I hated? It was the one. Where he meets God, and it turns out to be Octavia Spencer. What was the name of that movie?
The cabin?
Huh? The shack. Okay, he had the worst accent. She has the worst accent in a film that I've ever seen in a while. But yeah, Aisha Taylor, she's fabulous. I love Aisha Taylor. I've always loved her in anything she's done. Even Whose Line Is It Anyway? Along those lines. But yeah, this film is basically they all get together. These friends. It was supposed to just be 2 of them. Now it's become a big party, and we'll just say a lot of dysfunctional people show up. One of their friends tries to set up Abby with 3 dates along the lines, and basically Molly is having issues reconciling, of course, her divorce. And her mom has invited her ex-boyfriend, who she just dumped, as who was previous to the marriage. So is trying to push them together, and then it turns out it's just a calamity. But it keeps your attention. With friends like these, I would not want to ever have any Thanksgiving, any Friendsgiving, because it's just amazing how any of these guys get along at the end of the day. We also find out there's a lot of other things. There's a few guest stars I left off the list that I found. It was a very surprise. I didn't even know they were in it. And when I saw them, I thought it was fabulous. It was just done well for those three people. And but yeah, at the end of the day, I recommend watching this if you come across it. If it's something that you are into. I thought this was it was a Ben Stiller production. We found out, along with Lionsgate and Saban Entertainment or Saban Films. So yeah, very well worth watching. It just is just a bunch of madcap crazy, but it's also kind of toned down in most spots, so it's not over the top where it gets too farcical. 3.5. See, told you there was a reason. I have a thing this week. 3.5 is as high as I go, but again, it's well worth the watch. I bought it, so I'll probably get a look at it again because there's some scenes that I do like, and I thought it was a very interesting show. So if you get a chance to watch it, do so. So the next film we're going to do is Jordan. You're scared. You're scaring me, Jordan. You're scaring me. So I'm going to go with the next movie, which is Scare Me. Oh, well, perfectly good segue. Good, Dutch. You did great. Anyway, during a power outage, two strangers tell scary stories. The more Fred and Fanny commit to their tales, the more the stories come to life in the dark of the Catskills cabin. The horrors of reality manifest when Fred confronts his ultimate fear. Fanny is the better storyteller. This has Josh Rubin, Aya Cash, and Chris Redd. Jordan, what do we got on this?
So this is a little bit of a horror watch again. This is on Shudder. Been enjoying myself on Shudder here. New release from this year. It's a small film. That is the film, buddy. That is an hour and a half, hour 40 something actually. One of the problems I'm going to talk about. Of them just telling stories in this cabin. There's no interactive flashbacks
there's no flashbacks at all.
There's no flashbacks. There's no actually seeing the story. It's them. It's like this could be a play basically. It's them telling the story and they get into it, and it's fun. And I enjoy the concept here, but word runs into me, and that's why if John Mega was on the show, he'd be giving it a way worse reviews because that's it. And again, in an hour 40, it does start to lean into that too much, where it's just okay. I've seen it. They're still telling stories. Okay, Chris Redd literally doesn't pop up until an hour in, and then they just do it a little bit more. He pops out, and I didn't like the ending either. The ending, unfortunately, left me unsatisfied as well. The very last scene I like, but the overall ending I wasn't a huge fan of, if that makes sense. So, yeah, this is like I said, if this was a bit tighter, like Creep with Mark Duplass, where it's an hour 20, like you said earlier, and they got in, they gave some fun acting, a little bit of intrigue, maybe a little bit of suspense because it does get a little bit suspenseful towards the end there. But it just I was just kind of, again, ready for it to wrap up. It's a little too long for the concept here. I don't know if the idea was to do a bigger idea movie, because if they had actually shown the scenes, maybe with other actors, like a Drunk History, I think I would have been way more into it. Yeah, but for what it is, I enjoyed myself to an extent, but like I said, I was ready for the end. But I'm going to give it 3 stars. Like I said, they're still worthwhile here. I enjoyed the performances. Cash is, of course, coming off of Stormfront from The Boys. So I think she's starting to put together a really fun little resume here as well. And when Red finally pops up, he's fun for a little bit as well. Yeah, so it was good.
So it sounds kind of like it's like a fireside camp, greeting me. We're all sitting by the fire, we're all telling scary stories, but they're stuck in a cabin. So this kind of stuffy.
Yeah. Let me check out one more for you here. Another quick scary movie. It's called Spiral. Sadly, not the Chris Rock Jigsaw movie that we want. It's a same-sex couple move to a small town so they can enjoy a better quality of life and raise their 16-year-old daughter with the best of social values, but nothing is as it seems in their picturesque neighborhood. This stars Jeffrey Bauer, Ari Cohen, and Lachlan Monroe. This is another Shudder exclusive here. I believe it's exclusive. Uh, Another one here where just I enjoyed moments. I enjoyed a little bit of the intrigue going here. Got a little bit of Rear Window where he's just next door going like something's wrong, and the other husband doesn't quite see it, but he sees something a little more into these neighbors. Um, kind of again really crazy round up ending. It does of course have the cliched bad guy really explains his entire logic for no reason.
I love those films, man, when they do that.
Absolutely no reason to. Like, yeah, I don't want to go into too much spoiler territory, but just so much, so unnecessary for him to sit there and tell him everything. Uh, but again, a movie that has its moments. I wouldn't say I was. I know I was kind of bored sections of it. I say I wasn't bored. I was invested enough in the main husband whose character that we see, and just finding out at least what was going on here. But another movie kind of like scared me where not a hell of a lot really happens until the end. So it's gonna be. I'm gonna give it a little bit less than the last one. I'm gonna say a 2.5 for me here. You did some 3.5ers. Well, there's a 2.5 in
There
Spiral.
you go. Well, yeah, the question I have for you, because a lot of people have probably been, who listen to this show, have been thinking, Shudder. How much is it a month? What is this? Because you do like a lot of horror films. Is it just delve into horror or like thriller type?
It's yeah. I mean, it's definitely catered towards horror. It basically is nothing but horror, but in different genres. Like I said, Scare Me is mostly talky. I gave a good review to the Mortuary Collection. There you go. That's the name of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's in a
That's
different.
sweet.
You know what I mean. So there are different genres of horror here. You got slasher. You got. I'm actually going to talk a little bit more Shudder later on in my quicker Halloween reviews. So I believe it's only $6, so it's a little bit cheaper than like a Netflix and whatnot. So I think it's definitely up. If that's what you're into, it's definitely right up for you in the alley. Will I keep it? Probably not. I might maybe visit it towards Halloween each year because I like a little bit of a mix. There's enough of it on Netflix and Hulu to where if I really need a horror fix, I can go there.
Absolutely, and plus for only $5, you could get Apple Plus. So just want you to be aware. So just so you can watch your Bill Murray films.
Building up enough of a resume where it might be worth at least taking a look ski one month when I have some time.
Yeah, but next year you'll probably have a lot of good things to choose from.
Hmm.
The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna just talk briefly because we only have one show to talk about. There's not been that much television just lately dropping, and if there is, we haven't really looked at a lot of it. But the one show that I've been wanting to watch, and it finally fell on AC. Supermarket Sweep. Yes, Supermarket Sweep. I love this show so much. When you can actually get reruns on what is it called? Oh, Netflix. Yes, Netflix. They have some of the best of shows of Supermarket Sweep. There's a gripe this time. There's no gripe with Leslie Jones. I love Leslie Jones as the host. I've talked to other people who've watched the show. They say that she's a very too animated, too loud, but she's just a very just an exciting, person. She's excited to be there. She's loved this show since the very beginning. So she's even auditioned for it. She almost got it, but her roommate decided to bail on her on the last second when they were about to cast, her and her roommate because she had to go get a job. She had to go to her job, and so she never was able to get on the show itself. Now she's able to host it. The major gripe I have with this, Jordan, is the original, I believe, is only a 30-minute show. The network, I think, with ABC has made it an hour-long show, so they have 2 games within that hour, with people, running around the store for up to $100,000 they could win. You can win in increments. Basically, you go to one spot, you get 50,000, 25,000, 75, all the way up to 100. It sounds, but I'm sitting there. An hour is just too long for this show. I loved it. The first one came in. The 2 ladies who won the first episode on the very first half of the episode won $50,000. They decided, let's hold it. Let's just keep the 20. We'll cut it down the middle. We'll be fine. 50,000 is 50. That's a lot of change. And then the next people who were after, I like the team, but they weren't even good enough to make any money. So, but that does happen in any of these games. But at the same time, I just felt like it was, I think maybe in my mind too much money given out. The possibility of too much money given out on the show. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of having two big prizes given out in one show because it kind of takes away from the first one. That's just my opinion. But I think they should be down to a half hour. Plus, you get more episodes that way, and so you're not you're not locked into it for an hour. So Jordan, that's my deal.
You had
Yeah.
me at let's make it shorter and more concise. And then you lost me at hey, you're giving out too much money, guys.
I know it's the network money, but I'm just sitting there. I'm like, at the same time, it's like, what happens if somebody wins 25? Am I supposed to feel as happy as the ones that just won to 50? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you could have done better. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like the idea of that putting in my head.
No, I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know. I'm just thinking in my brain. I know that's just wrong. So, but anyway, that's the only show we had this week. Supermarket Sweep. It's on every Sunday, or Monday, I believe. I can't remember. I just watch it on Hulu. So, what's up, Jordan? What's happening, bud?
We're gonna talk about Jamie Lee Curtis. That's what we're gonna do.
Sorry, that was my best scream.
Let's talk about the woman herself, man. We're making fun of her. It doesn't a huge filmography that at least that we've seen, but I like Jamie Lee Curtis. Anytime I see her names on a poster, whether or a TV show or a movie, I enjoy it, man. I really like her presence. I don't know if it's her decision or if it's just Hollywood or what. I don't think we've seen a lot of her, so I think it is almost like a treat every time we get her. You know what I mean? She's not one of those actresses where it's like, oh, this is her third film of the year. I feel like it's a little treat, little Jamie Lee Curtis topping.
Absolutely. And anytime I see her in an interview, she's always down to earth. She's grounded. She'll tell you like it is. If she has an issue, she'll just tell you right away. So I think that's always a good thing as well.
She helps you poop better.
Yeah, absolutely. Activia. Yes. Activia.
Right. And Jamie Lee Curtis films. Dutch, I feel like I began last week. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. My honorable mentions for Miss Jamie Lee Curtis, though. I have a few, just two. Actually, three, it turns out. Okay, look at that. The first one is Drowning Mona. If you haven't seen that, it's a pretty decent one. They got a lot of Yugos. The whole town drives Yugos in this movie. Blue Steel, where she's a cop. Very, very good. And Halloween H2O. I believe that's with LL Cool J as well in this one. But my number 10 rolling on in is Forever Young, a young little baby Elijah Wood, along with Mel Gibson as a young man as well. He gets cryogenically frozen to be unfrozen, and he's basically lost in this new world, and he just turns out he befriends Elijah Wood, whose mom just happens to be Jamie Lee Curtis, and she also falls in love with him. And so it's just a lot of weird, a lot of chases, a lot of things like that. Everyone wants to get a piece of Mel Gibson, for the good, not for the bad now. But yeah, that's my number 10, Forever Young.
All right, cool. I've never heard that movie. That premise sounds pretty fun. My honorable mentions are, hold on, let me get the list here. You Again. All right, so my number 10. You kicked it off with your honorable mentions. My number 10 actually is Drowning Mona. I have seen it from back in the day. I don't remember if it's a Who Done It or if it's a Let's Cover It Up kind of Who Done It.
I think it's more of a cover it up whodunit, if I'm not mistaken.
You know from the beginning, Nev Campbell, Danny DeVito, Bette Midler is the Mona who drowns, I believe. So, a little fun eclectic cast. Not great, but fun enough here. Curtis is actually pretty fun from what I remember. And evidently there's a lot of Hugos in it. Yeah, my number 10. Mona.
Yeah, a bunch of Yugos. I got to tell you, if it's a bunch of Yugos, they didn't have a lot of money in the car budget, so it's a lot. They're all like $10 a piece. Buy a ton of Yugos for $10. My number 9 is The Fog. Yes, John Carpenter's The Fog. And she is just what she does. She runs around from the fog and all the way through it. But yeah, I do remember it's a good horror film. Again, anything with John Carpenter is a good watch. So The Fog with Jamie Lee Curtis, that's my number 9.
Coming in at my number 9, a movie I did not think I would have on a top 10 ever, but it's here. It's cute. It has its moments. Christmas with the Cranks. A little over the top, a little unbelievable, a little eye rolly. But her and Alan definitely have some moments here. You definitely do chuckle. It's one of those movies where like I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not gonna lie. If you throw it on, I'll probably laugh a few times in between the eye rolls. So Christmas with the Cranks, it was cute enough. It comes in at my number 9.
We'll talk about that a little later in my list. But my number 8 turns out to be, hey, what do we do when Jordan and I switch places? Oh, it's like Freaky Friday. Yeah, that's what it is. Freaky Friday. Lindsay Lohan at her possible sunshiny starring moments before after Mean Girls, then she falls off the cliff. But then we have Jamie Lee Curtis playing the mom as well. I found this was and she's playing like some rocker teen. Yeah, there it is. Right, okay, I see. But yeah, it's just basically Jamie Lee Curtis always runs around with a stick up her butt. And so she's always upset. And next thing you know, they both switch off and take others' bodies. Again, this movie has been done so many different times with so many different actors, like father, like son, and God, what was it, 18 again, and a whole bunch of other things. You know, it's just taking a lot of different things all over again. But yeah, these two pretty much had some decent chemistry together as well. I thought it was a pretty good film. But there you go. My number 8 is Freaky Friday.
Very good there. My number 8 here is again coming off of your honorable mentions list, Halloween H2O. It's 20 years later. We haven't seen Jamie Lee Curtis in a horror movie, especially the Halloween franchise, since number 2 from many years back here. She went away from the franchise and even horror in general. A lot of horror she did early on if you look up her career. But yeah, I always enjoyed the premise of this here. Basically, you find out. Well, in the 4th movie, you find out that her character has died, and then in this one, it's the 7th movie. I remember this shit. In the 7th movie, you find out that she faked her death, which was a rewrite of a rewrite to explain how now all of a sudden she's alive. So Michael Myers finally finds out where she at because he invades Donald Pleasanton's house at the beginning. You see a cameo from Joseph Gordon-Levitt, one of the first victims. Spoiler. And yeah, I liked it, man. This one it trailed back a little bit from 4, 5, and 6, which started going too much into there's a cult and there's a conspiracy. Yeah. And this one I thought was a little more just straightforward. He's coming after her. You know, he's invading the college campus here. LL Cool J, which I don't know, man. This was that 2-year period or so where he's fighting sharks and Michael Myers. I loved LL Cool J growing up. Because between this and Deep Blue Sea, how could you not?
But now he's fighting terrorists over on CBS and CSILA or something like that.
There you go. He's still. I think I literally saw my dad watching that the other day. And I've tuned it a couple times. That's where Chris O'Donnell's at. If you wonder where he's at,
that is true.
Not the last time I will be talking Halloween. What you got?
It's not the last time I'll probably be talking about it either, but my number 7, we're going ho-ho-hoing with the Cranks. Yes, Christmas with the Cranks. I like you, it took me, it rated a little higher because I just watched it about a year ago, and I thought to myself, it's a lot better than I thought it was. And, as you say, Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis are very good together in this film. They have moments where he goes off, gets a tan, he gets ready for his Bahama cruise because his daughter ain't showing up. They're all happy. Yeah, we going down to the islands, and then all of a sudden she says, "Oh no, we're coming back." And so they got to throw Christmas together and, fight everything to get it back to where it needs to be, from, getting the tree to the canned ham that she loves the most. And everyone wants to know why they're avoiding Christmas, but they just don't want to give it up the reason at the first time. But then when they come together, the community really finds out they really need the cranks. So yeah, it's a decent film. Like you said, there's a little eye rolls here and there, especially about the ham fight. Yeah, and but yeah, that's my number 7, I believe. It's Christmas with the Cranks.
All right, a movie I kind of have talked about already. We're going back to 1981. It's Halloween 2. Picks off right where the first Halloween left off at. Jamie Lee Curtis she's coming down off of that horrible attack from Michael Myers. You see the quote, the closet scene I'll talk about later, obviously. And it's him invading the hospital here. Good for pro Jamie Lee in the end here. And yeah, this was supposed to be the end, guys. This was the first of multiple ends that we have seen of Michael Myers here. If you remember how it ends. And yeah, this one actually, I thought it was a pretty worthy follow up here. I enjoyed this one. That's why it's so kind of high on my list. That's Halloween 2 coming in at where we at 7, which means you're going to talk to me about number 6.
Number 6. Well, guess what, my friend? We're still talking Halloween, but we're talking Halloween 2018, the remake, where we got the older Jamie Lee Curtis knowing her shit, making basements full of spikes, shooting up the joint, lights and just floodlights and shotguns and everything just I'll just say that she's loaded for bear because she knows no matter what, this Mike Myers is gonna just come after his ass, after her, and go after him, and hopefully he never escapes. But what happens? He escapes right there. And I thought this was the best reboot of any franchise whatsoever. We have the next one coming out, Halloween, I believe, Kills, coming out next year. So it'll be fun. She comes back as her character again. We'll see what happens, but did he or didn't he not die? I don't know. But I thought this was great. You forget everything. You just forget everything that you've ever saw, and you go from Halloween, I believe Halloween 2. This is where you should pick it up if you watch your Halloweens, and you should be fine with that. So there it is. Halloween number 6 on my list, Halloween from 2018.
Very nice. Well, we're going to do a little bit of a recall coming in at my number 6 here. Is that body swapping film Freaky Friday? This is a lot of fun here. As you said, we've seen it before, but it's one of those reasons why you keep going back, because when you do it and you do it well, you get a movie like this, not like the one with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds.
No.
This is fun. This is enjoyable here. Like you mentioned before, I think Lohan is never more charming than kind of this little era of her. Curtis is the mom who is buttoned up and well-meaning. She walks a really nice level in this, where yeah, she might be a little buttoned up, annoying, but never to the point of like not wanting to like her. I mean, you still get where she's coming from, which is good. So yeah, I enjoy this film. Freaky Friday. Talk to me about how we're now in the echelon, the top 5. What is your number 5?
My number 5, A Fish Called Wanda. Her and Robert Klein just meld together. John Cleese as well is in this film, and it's just this is her and her. I think this was one of those films that just broke out for everybody. It was not meant to be a cult type film. Turns out it is a cult type film. So A Fish Called Wanda, very good comedy. Just so much fun to watch. Look at just the chemistry between, like I said, Robert Klein and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Hold on.
And
hold on. Kevin, dude.
Oh, Kevin Kline. I apologize. Not Robert Klein. Yeah, I don't like Robert Klein as much. I said it right the first time, did I not, or no?
No, you went Robert like 3 times in a row.
Okay, Robert, I apologize. Like I'm down with it. I got John Cleese. That's what I got, baby. I got John Cleese right. But yeah, Kevin Kline, who we don't see a lot of anymore, since Dave, I think. But yeah, I enjoyed this film, and I apologize to Kevin in all due respect. I do. So come out, make another Fish Called Wanda 2. Let's do it. That's number 5.
Very nice here. Coming in and my number 5. Again, let's go back. Let's talk about Halloween from 2018. I thought they hit a really interesting new idea with this, which is okay. Let's go back. This is supposed to be right after number 1. There is no 2 in the hospital. Number 1, they end up catching him. They put him in and just Jamie Lee Curtis basically has PTSD. She has just figured at some point this guy was going to come back after her to the point where it's affected her relationship with Judy Greer, her daughter, and her granddaughter as well here. And, like you said, she's got all those traps here. And yeah, this was a really fun, new, unique way to have a new take on this as well. Never thought I'd see Jamie Lee Curtis back in Halloween because after H2O, she made well, she didn't make it. She was out in the first 5 minutes of Resurrection, which might be the worst Halloween film.
Yeah.
Not on this list. She's barely in it, so I don't think it would make the list for a couple of reasons. But so she was done. But then something like this, she was like, "All right, you tackled it in a cool way." Written by Danny McBride of all people, and his usual director as well. So yeah, this was a really fun, unique film. Halloween 2018.
Yes, my number 4 uh, is probably the sexiest dance scene that you'll ever see, ever, with Jamie Lee Curtis, and she is with True Lies, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Arnold, even I think the late great Charlton Heston was the boss, or was it Burt Lancaster? Was it Charlton Heston?
I think your husband's right.
Yeah, I think it was Charlton Heston. I always get them two mixed up. Don't know why, but I do. And I've always wanted to see a sequel to this film, but I don't know. It doesn't hold up all together that well lately. Into these, there he is right there. That is Charlton Heston, yes. And so, but yeah, I found it fascinating. Bill Paxton is just a guy who just has a crush on Jamie Lee Curtis's character because she's always buttoned up, and he's finally showing her some type of knowledge. So he gets a little upset, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and he gets all jealous and basically wants to spice up his marriage, as it were. So, and then things just go perilously wrong in this. And also Elijah Dushku, if I'm not mistaken, plays the daughter. So yes, it's just it's James Cameron's film as well. So it's going to be action packed. It's going to be fun. Has a lot of good comedy as well. And I like I said, I've always wanted a sequel to this, but I don't know if you can ever do that anymore. But they should have struck when the iron was hot. But again, Blue people got just distracted, I think, to him, or was it Titanic maybe? But either one of those, James Cameron got distracted, so we couldn't ever have a sequel.
Sadly. No, I'm with you on that. I might be talking about that here in a little bit here. But as we go on to my number 4, maybe the most recent one on this list, a very great eclectic cast here, Knives Out. Fun whodunit. One of those whodunits that you actually, as an audience, do find out pretty early on who done did it, but it still continues to unravel between this just eat shit. I love that scene. Sorry.
Yeah.
Eat shit. And Curtis delivers as well as everyone in this here, man. Great, introducing scenes. She's cross-legged talking to Daniel Craig, and this is just Ryan Johnson. Another reason why this is a director that just his name alone, I'm like, all right, I'm in. Knives Out coming at you.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later, but first, let us stop over again. Trick or Treat, my friend, 1978, the original Halloween, with Jamie Lee, of course, as the babysitter, running around, going crazy. But yeah, I thought this was the perfect film for anything. You didn't see a lot of blood. Yet the score alone sends shivers down your spine. I mean, over and over, and just and it builds to the crescendo. And so, and of course, you have Michael Myers, who's basically just walking. Everyone else is running. He's just strolling and just standing in spots. So, but yeah, I enjoyed this movie. To this day, I have the 20th anniversary snow globe on my cabinet over there. I just love this film so much. And I don't know why. Out of all horror films, because I don't watch a lot of horror films. To me, this is the perfect horror film. And it's not a lot of bloodshed, even though there is a body count. But there's not a lot of shown blood. But it's suspenseful, and it builds, and it just thrills, and perfect for what it is.
Well, what number is it?
That's number 3. on my
Good,
list.
because my number three is Halloween.
Woo!
Just continuing the train, man. Everything you said. This is one of the OGs, and it still holds up. It is still just a masterclass in suspense. And Jamie Lee Curtis being a great scream queen, a great final girl, if you will. Here, there's a reason, man. I mean, that this is still something that's shown and talked about, and uh, I almost don't even know what else to say. Just this is just it's a masterpiece. As much as the bottom five were good. I love this top five of Jamie Lee. This was hard to do for me to kind of rank this because they're all kind of different films. This
Yeah.
bottom three, or even bottom five even. But yeah, the original Halloween, it's still much love. Something that I probably even watching this trailer, I'm thinking I need to rewatch this now. It's a week away from Halloween. Let's get to it. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. That's my number three.
Yeah, like I said, it could have been higher, but again, there's two other films that are just above it, and mostly the second one, as we're going to go with, is something you've already covered, Knives Out, and because the reason why I put her at number two on this list, one, I love the film, but she is just unbelievably good. This is probably the best performance that I have actually seen her just act in. You know what I'm saying? She's not running around; she's holding her own against, God help me out. I just went blank. Daniel Craig and Lakeith as well. And, she's holding their own in that scene. It's beautiful. It really is, when he's talking to her about, how are you, what you mean before my father's death? That type of stuff. And her and Don Johnson, they play, a weird married couple at the same time, who's, of course, Luke Evans, Evans, Chris Evans is their child. It's just unbelievable. The family just dynamics in this thing. It's just I thought it was fantastic, and she plays a very shrewd marm basically in this. She's the mom, and she basically just everyone wraps around what she has to say. So that's what I love. That's why it's number two. Knives Out.
Very good. Again, I'm going to be talking here about something you've come out already with. True Lies, Daddy. My number two here. This thing is so much fun. This is why Arnold. I think all of a sudden like a really kind of great mid '90s section with Terminator, and then this James Cameron. As you mentioned here, man, this would have been ripe with sequels. This easily could have been a trilogy, but you fall off, you do other things. Yeah, the pot's definitely kind of passed. I think we could still potentially do it, but I don't know. Weirdly enough, one of those films too that like never got like I think a Blu-ray release, and like there's some sort of weird thing with that in the studio here. But True Lies, man. I mean, once you said, by the way, when you were setting yours up, and you're like one of the sexiest dance scenes, I already was like True Lies trailer. I know what movie he's talking about because that scene. Hubby, hubby, that scene. Number two, for me, True Lies.
Yeah. And like I said, our top five, I thought the top five was easier than the bottom five in my book, because I could always
Top five
envision
was
what I
harder
like.
because they were like my children. I was like, oh, I don't want to say. It's hard to say Knives Out is better or worse than Halloween and True Lies because they're all so different.
Yeah. And that's what's great about her work, actually. It's a lot different than most. It's not always the same. Earlier it was, but then she kind of started picking and choosing things, which is nice to see an actress be able to do. But my number one is where I was actually first ever introduced. It wasn't Halloween. I was introduced to her in Trading Places. The greatest comedy of all time. Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Don Amici, and many many more. I just love it. I still love the new the scene in which they're on the train and she comes in with Lederhosen and she calls herself Anga from Sweden, and God, I can't remember his name, but he also played in. He was dressed up as he goes, but you're wearing lederhosen. He's trying to lead her. You're not from Sweden if you're wearing lederhosen. Yeah, Anga from Sweden. You want some Swedish meatballs, and stuff. But yeah, she is just unbelievable as the hooker in this film, and it just every single time Louis, and Dan Aykroyd's character, it's just unbelievably good. It is. I still watch it every year before New Year's goes off. I will watch this movie again before New Year's is dropped because I call this one my Christmas New Year's film. Is always played every year without fail, and I've not missed a year yet. So watch it. Trading Places if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, for shame, for shame. Number one.
Well, I don't know if I can really agree with you, but maybe I can. My number one Trading Places, buddy. We are not fighting on this one this week at all. Here's that scene you were talking about, real quick.
Yeah.
So give you a bit of a visual there if you want. Yeah, no, I agree with you. If you haven't seen this, get to it, man. I mean, Curtis is fantastic. Like you said, you see a different side of her, obviously, than you saw in any kind of horror film. Danny Aykroyd, I don't think I've ever enjoyed a movie of him or even him. He's leveled in this. He's super funny. I love Danny Aykroyd in this film. And of course, Eddie Murphy. I want that. I've been looking for the Funko Pop. Have you ever seen that one of him on the with no legs? I want that Funko
Yes.
Pop.
If I see it, I don't know if they did make it. So if I see it, I will. I think run out there and get it. By the way, it was Ralph. It wasn't Ralph Bellamy. It was Denham Elliott who played Coleman. That's who I could not come up with. Great actor. He played in Indiana Jones up to the Last Crusade. Then he passed on from AIDS. But yeah, unfortunately. But very good actor as well. Great character actor. So yes, I just love this film, and it ties in. Trading Places tied in with Coming to America. So that's always something fun to watch as well. If you want to put them both together, do that. Have yourself a sequel to Trading Places without really watching a sequel with everybody. But yeah, I loved it. So that's my top. Let me go over my top 10. Right? Is that what we're gonna do? Yeah. You know what? I should know this by now. We do this, right? So my top 10. Forever Young, number 9, The Fog, number 8, Freaky Friday, number 7, Christmas with the Cranks, number 6, Halloween 2018's version, number 5, A Fish Called Wanda, number 4, True Lies, number 3, Halloween, the OG, number 2, Knives Out, and number 1, of course, Trading Places.
Very good, very good. Let's go over mine now. Top 10 of Jamie Lee Curtis. As you can see, the beautiful lady right there. My number 10 here was Drowning Moda. Number 9, Christmas with the Cranks. 8, Halloween H2O. 7, Halloween 2. 6, Freaky Friday. 5, Halloween, the 2018 one. Number 4, Knives Out. 3, Halloween OG. 2, True Lies. And 1, Trading Places.
Yeah, I you know what? I had fun with this one. Thank you. I know I came up with it, but I actually some of them I come up with, and I'm like, oh, why did I choose this? But I actually had fun with this one. I really did enjoy this one for once. So
Shout out to Jamie Lee Curtis. I hope you're watching.
Yeah, thank you for indulging me in Jamie Lee. So, but next week though, we're gonna go over our top 10 horror films of the decade, right? Of 20 was it 90 to 99, I believe. Right? Is that the decade that we're doing?
No, I figured it was the last decade. Why are you choosing that decade?
Oh well, it's 10 years ago.
No, 90 through 99. You mean?
2000 to 2020.
Yeah.
Or 2010 to 2020, right? Is that the last? I don't know how many I've seen. I've probably seen like 2, but we'll figure something out. We'll figure
10. I'm sure. I hope so.
I'm not good at math.
90 through 99.
Look, 2020 has been a shit year. Okay, so I kind of wanted to go backwards in time for a little bit.
Well, let me do my quick Halloween corner. I only got 2 of them for you.
Absolutely, brother. I didn't. That's why I was letting you introduce it, bro.
All right, man. It's Halloween corner. It's the horror corner with Jo for the month of October. I've been trying to crank out some scary films. I've only got 2 here for you. The first one's actually a 2020 release, but I threw it in here so we didn't overload the reviews. It's The Deeper You Dig. Speaking of digging, I did some digging on this movie. Actually, I enjoy the background of this movie more than the movie itself.
Really? What was the background on this film?
if you look at the credits after this, it's literally like directed by this guy, written by this guy, uh, uh, costumes by his wife, his daughter did this. It's like this. It's a husband, wife, daughter, and this is like their fifth film they've done together. They make these films, usually horror films, together, and this one's it's an interesting premise. Basically, the guy one night accidentally murders his neighbor. He's fixing up the house and he murders a young girl, and the mother's looking for him. And at first, too, I was thinking, this is not even really horror. This is more of a drama because at first nothing really, there's no kind of slasher or supernatural vibes. But then it gets a little freaky. Then it does pick up, and it does definitely a horror film in the end of the day. Just saying that. So it's not horrible. They do a lot with a little at some points. There's a little bit of effects towards the end here. Sometimes I felt like it was weird for weird's sake, which is not always great, but it was an interesting watch. Again, it's on Shutter. Check out from I think it's the Posey family maybe, and yeah, it was an interesting backstory here of a husband and wife and daughter making this horror film together. Next up, I haven't seen every Freddy Krueger movie, so I filled in another bit of the gap here. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master. And this is where they started having the tipping point of Freddy, where Freddy goes from just a straight up guy that kills you in your dreams to, hey, everybody, is this mic on? Hi, I'm Freddy Krueger. Have you been in the mall lately? He's starting to become a stand up comedian in the fourth one. And you can really see it by the time you get to number 6. He's straight up a comedian by the time you get to number 6 here. So, didn't like this one. The first, there's been a couple Freddy's where I'm like, this casting. This was a nationally released film. Like this was in theaters. Like the casting is just they're not very good. They're not in the moment. It gets a little bit better. Like the first few victims I didn't love. The final girl was all right, and there's some kind of cool body horror towards the end. But this is not one I recommend here. Freddy Krueger 4, very much of a skip unless you're a completist in the Freddy category.
Yeah, I remember. I think I stopped watching after 3. I think that was the Dream Warriors, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, well, okay, that's enough. But part 4, I don't even remember the Dream Master that well. So, but yeah, I like I said, I did watch a few here and there, but not much. But I'm glad you continue on watching our these horror films, brother. I really do. I'm, somebody's got to watch them. So why not you?
I'm sure I'll have a couple more for you next week. Also, my Trial Chicago 7 review coming for you next week. Looking forward to talking about that movie.
And we got Tremors, Screech Island. We'll be talking about as well.
I will be with you on that. 100% will be with you on that.
Yeah, and the Trial of the 7, I'll be with you as well. So we're probably gonna be on the same page for the first time ever in a long time.
This week we had nothing together. Next week we're gonna be doing some dual reviews again. That's good. I always like that.
I like it when we can always bounce off each other. I like that. So speaking of bouncing off each other, my friend, this is my favorite subject of all time. My whole segment is my favorite subject. It's news and notable stuff. Yes, news and notable stuff. Stuff.
Well, let's talk some box office here from the October 16th to the 18th weekend. Number 5, Hocus Pocus, made an extra 765,000, bringing that to 43 million in its third week of the new release. Number 4, Nightmare Before Christmas, making an extra mil in its debut week. Number 3, Tenet, making about a little over a million, bringing that to 50 million in its 8th week. Mr. Grandpa, War with Grandpa, 2 million. And number 1, good Liam Neeson, making some 3 million, bringing that to about 4 million or so. So that is your box office for the weekend. Jim, Dutch, whatever your name is.
Yes, sir.
Take off your hat. And a bit of a morning here. Quibi is dead. And it lasts about as long as one of its episodes. But ching. I've been holding that joke in all week. Quibi looks like it is shutting down. This was the service meant specifically for your cell phones. That's the problem I had with it. I didn't want to subscribe just for a cell phone thing. If I'm bored and I have my cell phone and I need a video, I'll jump on YouTube. I'm not going to pay for another subscription just for that. I do hope these shows maybe land somewhere else because I wouldn't mind watching several of these. You got a comedy with Will Forte. You got the the greatest game, or the game where they what's his face? Christopher Waltz hunts one of the Hemsworth brothers. Like, there's some cool, interesting stuff on here. The WWE even had a show, but unfortunately, it just never caught traction here, it looks like. And Quibi is going, bye bye.
Yeah, that's a shame because I never watched a thing on it. But I heard some good things were on that. Ron Funches had a few things that I was kind of interested in, but
Reno 911 was back. Yeah.
and I heard The Fugitive was pretty decent. So yeah, there were some shows. Maybe these shows will jump from that platform to maybe an actual possible pickup to actual real shows. We don't know.
I hope. I mean, like I said, we've just named like 6 shows that I wouldn't mind watching. So,
Yeah.
to Tubi or Crackle, somebody at least take them.
Yeah. At least, yes.
Some release dates, some shuffles, some new dates here. Don't Breathe 2 is set for August 13th, 2021. No, you can breathe. You can breathe, Dutch.
Thank God.
Ghostbusters Afterlife has been pushed again.
What?
March 5th. It is now June 11th of next year. We're beginning Ghostbusters. Don't Say it in the Mirror. Is it 3 or 5 times? Candyman is now set for August 27th of next year. A film I really want to see that one. And Legally Blonde 3 is setting up for a May 2022 debut. So we'll see Reese back.
Don't set your watch to that either. We ain't gonna have any watch setting anymore to these movies. By God, I'm just upset so much. I mean, come on, Ghostbusters.
I'm gonna make you feel better, Dutch. Get ready to smile, baby, because
Okay.
Jared Leto's returning as the Joker in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I'm smiling because I'm very disappointed.
So Snyder was really wanting us to get on his bandwagon, so he said, "Let's pull out some good old Leto," because everyone loved that.
Oh my God! If once you think Snyder can't do anymore, he just keeps stabbing you in the heart every time with everything. Oh my God! It was the worst Joker rendition. Yes, people thought, well, it's a little different. Yeah, it was a little different, and he looked like a little trailer park trash. But I guess that's how we want our Jokers anymore. I just found it. I thought his rendition of the Joker was just dreadful, and I was glad that they cut a lot of scenes out of him, of that film. I don't know what to say, man. I am bummed that we have to keep dealing and suffering ourselves with this this Zack Snyder thing. Can we just release the 5-hour movie already and just, I don't even care if the CGI is ready. So I just want to hear everyone's heart break when they actually watch the goddamn thing. Okay. It's just going to be a train wreck. Just throwing money down on it. Sorry. I hate the idea that he's even getting a chance at this shit. God. Sorry. Go ahead. Next. I am tired of Zack Snyder. God, I'm tired of him.
A question for you. Why so serious?
Because I care about DC. Warner Brothers doesn't seem to give a shit.
Next up in the Believe It or Not segment of the week, Universal says they're wrapping the Fast and Furious franchise after 2 more films. That's 2 more after the current one, so technically 3 more. Do you believe this? Is this just another Michael Myers ploy to go, oh, well, let's get more butts and seats for these next 3 films? We're going to all of a sudden redo it again. What, do you actually believe this?
I was hoping this would be the last one, but no.
3 more to finish this saga.
How about this? Yeah. By the way, did they really have it mapped out? I don't think they really had it mapped out. This is.
I could see getting to 10. Like, why is 11 going to be the end? Like, I don't know.
Well, because it's just one. Why you could do 10, but it's like all of a sudden you're at Spinal Tap. But there's an 11. There's an 11. But then don't forget there'll be another 15 on direct video later on. Don't worry. Don't rate VOD, another 12. It's almost like trimmers. They have 15 of them. They'll just keep pushing them out.
That's true. Get the dude from the Tokyo Drift, put him in his own, All right. Uh,
The origin story.
Speaking of 12, well, we didn't say 12, we said 11. All right, well, let's go to number 12. FX or FXX has greenlit Archer for their 12th season. So getting more Archer coming out. Have you seen the trailer for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that recently came out? A movie on Netflix that will be Chadwick Boseman's swan song, it seems.
Yeah, with
Viola
who,
Davis.
Viola Davis. Yes, I can't wait to watch that one. It looks kind of gritty and looks fun. Just for acting. Those two could act. You
Yeah,
know,
no doubt. Who Davis always killing it, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing some more Bozeman. Which is good that we got a little bit more coming. Um, what we don't have though is coming at us is the show Away with Hilary Swank over at Netflix has been canceled, so no season 2 for Swank. I never saw that. Did you ever watch Away?
no, I'm not a Hillary Swank kind of fan, but again, it's nothing against her. It's just it's like a lot of people. You have your people you follow. It's like Kirsten Dunst. You don't really follow a lot of hers, but as you said I believe last week that her show got canceled as well because of the COVID. So this could be all it.
Why do you hate Kristen Dunst? What she ever do to you?
No, I'm just saying I don't follow, her show. I mean, everyone says it's a good show. I just not a very, huge fan of Kristen Dunst.
Well, speaking of someone you are a fan of, Adam Sandler is pulling together a really interesting cast for his film Hustle. Robert Duvall, Queen Latifah, and Ben Foster have been added to this cast here. So it is not your Herbie Halloween quite film from Sandler. So looking forward to seeing this. Yeah,
What
Duvall, Latifah, Foster. There's some 3 heavy hitters right there that
what is David Spade gonna do? What is who's the others? I
Rob Schneider.
yeah, Rob Schneider. I feel how's he going to feed them kids? I don't even know if he has kids, but how's he going to do it?
Rob Schneider not only has a kid, Rob Schneider's daughter is like a musician, and like a well-known musician.
Oh, well, okay then. You don't got to feed her. She can make her a move. She could sit on a street corner and play a violin or something.
I only got one more piece here for you. You got anything for me?
I don't have anything, buddy. You are my news. You are my source for everything tonight. I can find something if you want me to, but I'm good.
I mean, if you want, I'm just saying. I got 2 more things here for you. The final piece of actual news here is some photos are surfacing and that at least Wonder Woman and Superman do exist in the new Robert Pattinson the Batman movie. It looks like they might have just been like street hustlers looking to get photos for like money. You know what I mean? Inside the movie, they didn't look like they were actually Superman or Wonder Woman. But
yeah, they just
show that they do exist in that universe voice.
Yeah. The universe. You certainly. But yeah, certainly, yes.
Certainly. And you got anything else for me?
No, man. I like I said, I am this week. I am happy. Liam Neeson's just doing what he's doing, and everyone's happy.
Maybe we'll try to find some time to see some Liam Neeson sometime soon.
Yeah.
Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Schneider's daughter, Elle King.
It hurt more than they were supposed to.
Don't know who she is. Who is she?
Waiting for the let go. I swore I wouldn't till you said so.
Somewhere off screen, Rob Schneider is going, "You can do it!"
Yeah, you can do it all night long.
They had a falling out, but now they're doing good from what I've heard.
But did she finally watch Deuce Bigelow 2 or something? Is it, oh, Father, why?
Why European Gigolo?
Why? Oh, man. Well, anyway, I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for her, I guess, if that's what we do here. We only love, we don't hate, unless you're Zack Snyder. We only love. We don't hate unless you're Zack Snyder.
First of all, I'm looking forward to the Snyder Cut. I don't know if Leto was a great choice, but he's in that universe, so if it makes sense and it's not like a lot of it, I'm not gonna kill it yet.
Well, I just
I want more Ben Affleck, so I'm gonna be okay. Unlike you, I want more Ben Affleck.
no. I look. I have no qualms. I think Ben Affleck should have had his own film, but yeah, I just just didn't work out for him. Unfortunately, we'll see him probably later in the Flash film, but yeah, I like I said though, it's I just Zack Snyder.
Michael Keaton's playing very coy as to whether or not he's gonna be in it.
Oh please, Michael, come on, take the paycheck. You know you're gonna do it.
Although Jimmy Kimmel did ask him who's the best Batman, he goes, me.
Of course, he is the best Batman. He is the best. It's not Dave. It's not Dave. He's not the best Batman, but Michael Keaton, the best Batman to put on a cowl, in my book, because he didn't go crazy like some of the other ones with their deep voices. So there you go. My opinion. Other than that, I think we're done, right? So
We're
I
not
wish.
done until we play
Dicky? Yeah, how are you?
Freaky Friday by Little Dicky.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you. It's got like this.
All right, where's the song? There we go.
I just don't know.
Change bodies.
See, this is like Freaky Friday, but you become a woman abuser in this film. So
Are you talking? What? Wait, did you get it? What happened? No, how did I lose you?
so it's gonna be left of me. What? What?
You're there.
I've already signed us off almost. You're on the left of me over here. So to the left. Jordan Owens.
The back to the left. Thank you, Dutch. This was enjoyable. I will see you next week, my man.
I will see you, my friend. I think I figured this camera angle shit out. So I think I will see you next week.
Good night.
Good night.